In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000, my heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
The Internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Whoa! Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Get again.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
The following letters were written by our troops.
My dear fellow Americans, I truly appreciate your support. I was starting to wonder if people had forgotten about us over here, but then one of my buddies showed me this website, and now as tears are streaming down my face, I can see for sure that you haven't. Private Emily B., U.S. Army.
It's so heartwarming to see the American people not letting the men and women of the armed forces be forgotten. Your letters make a group of grown men, battle-hardened and gruff, act like a bunch of kids around a Christmas tree. Thanks. Staff Sergeant Matthew H., U.S. Army.
Your support may be the most important thing our troops can carry with them. But don't take our word for it. Take theirs. To show your support, visit americasupportsyou.mil. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Defense and the Ad Council.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Ecclesiastites. Yes, it is I, your lovable host, L. Rod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio, somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is, yes, you know it, live free or die. It is not big government or bust. It is Monday already. And we had a wonderful weekend. Although yesterday, global warming really kicked in. We had snow in the Granite State. Yeah, snow. And I guess in territory north of where I am, it was quite a bit. And although I have not been able to confirm, I understand that my old hometown of Syracuse, New York, got kind of a walloping early on. I mean, this is not even Halloween yet. And this throws my whole theory of climate shifting out the window. Because I thought that maybe, my theory is that maybe the seasons were shifting and they're about a few weeks off. In other words, instead of having summer in June, July, and August, we were having summer in July, August, and September. Well, that would mean that we're not supposed to really get snow until November, December, because winter doesn't start in December. It starts in, January, so we have January, February, March for winter. But the snow yesterday sort of threw all that out the window, that kind of a theory. So maybe it's just getting colder. I know, and you're going to have some people, throwing back to that wonderful era of the 60s and 70s about global cooling, and man is going to go into it. Now, there was something last week about, I think I had it, I posted it too, about a new mini ice age is going to happen to us before the end of this century. In other words, we have no clue. We don't know what the weather's going to do. We don't know what the climate's going to do. All we can do is sit back, watch the weatherman on TV, and hopefully they get it right more than half the time. Because other than that, there's nothing else we can do about it. Mankind is not the major prime cause of the climate or weather changing. Just Mother Nature, the Earth, going through her cycles. I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying this, but, since I am politically incorrect, I'm going to say it anyway. Mankind has always been correct in saying that it's Mother Nature, not Father Nature, and calling the Earth a female. She. Planet is a she. Because let's face it, this planet changes as often as a woman does. Just saying. It's not necessarily a negative. Hey, I like it when women change into, and they don't stay stale. And what do I mean by, well, they're constantly changing and evolving and adapting and looking for new ways to look their best and to feel their best. Did you know that automobile car colors are based on men's fashions? Now, why is that? Because, frankly, men don't change all that often. Not real men, anyway. I know you got those girly men that wear those man buns, and you see those men. Well, this is not. Have we had the Milan fall? We probably had had the fall fashion, but have we had the winter fashion show yet? Because every once in a while I'll see these pictures of like the fashion shows in Paris and Paris, France, and Milan, Italy, and I gotta tell you, none of those male models look too happy wearing the crap that they're wearing, because that's not manly stuff. I don't know where I think the problem is that half of the male designers that design male clothing, at least half of them are gay anyway. So they want to be, and they're the feministic kind. They basically would rather be a woman, and so they're trying to dress men and trying to make men look more like they wish they could dress. I guess it's awful stuff, and I never really see any of that. I never really see any of that high fat. I know the devil wears Prada, whatever. Tried to say how high fashion really trickles down and determines what the rest of us wear. But I don't. Well, I guess maybe men do get where the feminized stuff gets down into. I mean, 'cause sometimes, you see some of the stuff that these guys are wearing, and you're like, really? Are you a guy, or are you I know they have these beards now, but beards are, losing favor, by the way. And I have a theory about that. Beards are losing favor because they don't help make a man more masculine. They don't. You got to look at what do they call metrosexual men with beards? Now, I'm sorry, they're not men. I mean, they're it's for lack of a better term, they're girly men. Frankly, women really want a real man. They don't want this is the problem. Millennials are they're going to start having a number of issues. Now, we think that, the older generations are kind of fuddy-duddy, and we've all gone through the divorce thing. 50% of all marriages end in divorce, which is actually a BS statistic. But this whole males today are not stepping up and being men. The feminization of men has finally taken hold on the millennials. And I have never seen, males I've never seen so many whiny, crybaby, wimpy, can't stand up for themselves males in a group that I can think of in any previous generation. I mean, the millennials, and every time the boys try to act like boys and be men, they get chastised for it. Let's face it. I mean, and if you think that this is learned behavior, look, I know of a 4-year-old boy, and this kid is going to be an ultra masculine kid when he grows up, as long as his mother doesn't tame it. Naturally, the kid nobody's teaching him. He's 4 years old. Nobody's teaching him how to be a boy. I mean, his mother doesn't try to make him a boy or a girl. She has a lot of what do they call it? Gender neutral toys. But let me tell you something. This kid is a boy. He's interested in what everybody believes boys should be interested in. I mean, he's rough. When he plays with other boys, he's aggressive. Not in a bad or mean way. He knows his limits, but he's aggressive. He loves cars. He likes to take things apart and build. He's interested in construction. Everything that you think a boy would be interested in, this kid is a boy. Even though his mother gets him mostly gender neutral toys, and doesn't really and his mother and father they split, so they're not together. So, and the father is still around, but not very often. So it's not like he's getting this huge male influence from his father. But the kid is just a boy. But that's the way a lot of boys are until it is beaten out of them. Because we're different. And by the same token, next door neighbor, a neighbor of mine has little girls. No, they're the girliest girls you'll ever see, but their mom is actually not a girly girl. But these little girls are. And she's like, yeah, they only want to wear dresses, and they only want to do girl stuff. And as long as mom doesn't beat it out of them, they will probably grow up to be what we would probably classify as lipstick girls. They will be girly girls. Nothing wrong with that either, but it's this natural state that they're in. Look, kids are taught a lot of things as they grow up, and one of them is how not to be who they were born to be. So we got to be careful of that, because now we're starting to see it in millennials, and these millennial boys, I tell you, they're male. I can't call them men because they don't act like, and I know they're in their 20s, but they don't act like men, many of them. It's a good, significant portion of that generation has been raised as girly men. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I don't think you're going to see, Generation X or baby boomers or World War II, the greatest generation, Depression era babies wearing man buns. I don't think you're going to see them doing that. And this is I guess they think it's cool. I think it looks foolish and ridiculous, but they're just I'm not a hipster when it comes to fashion anyway. So who am I to talk about fashion and trends and all that kind of stuff? I like the classics. I would so like to go back to the days of the 50s and 60s, Mad Men. Guys dressed like guys and gals dressed like gals, and guys wore wonderful hats and they dressed for the occasion. There was a time in this country when you actually wore your Sunday best to go on a trip. So if you rode the bus, or if you flew in an airplane, or you got on the train, most people were dressed for the occasion. Not today, man. You get on the airplane today, and people are in cutoffs and tank tops and just raggedy stuff. They don't care. Like, have some pride in your appearance at least. I can understand if you go a few days without shaving, you're traveling, got it. But for God's sakes, man, if you're going to have a beard, keep it trimmed or something. And the hair too, do something with the hair. I hate it when my hair gets too long and I don't have time to get to my hairstylist, if you will, basically a female barber. I hate it when I don't get my hair trimmed and cut when I can't, because I think it looks terrible. Not that I'm obsessed with my appearance, but I have a certain amount of pride in my appearance, and I think people should take the time to look their best for other people. Nobody wants to see a dirty, grungy, grubby, grimy, person next to them. I don't like it. I don't say that they have to be, model quality, but even if you're overweight, even if you're fat, it's no excuse to look dumpy and uncouth and unshaven, and you can still look neat. Guess that's the whole point. Just take a little bit of personal pride in yourself. You'll get a lot farther too, in both in your personal relationships and your business relationships, if you just take a little bit of pride. And it doesn't matter where you work, even if you're blue collar. If you take a little pride in how you look, you're going to end up earning more than the guy that doesn't take care of how he looks. Just the historical fact, folks. We've got some issues in our schools again. Got some issues in our schools. When I saw these come across my newsfeed, it's just another one of those days where I'm shaking my head. SMH. And of course it's out there on the left coast. But this from Daily Caller. dailycaller.com. San Francisco Middle School cancels. Now, it's another one of those headlines that when I first read it, I thought it was a joke. I did. I thought it was a joke. But San Francisco middle schoolers cancels student elections. Now, frankly, it's one thing, I thought elections were, popularity contests anyway, and I thought they'd be getting rid of student government and elections and that type of thing. Because, there's winners and there's losers, and that goes against the whole liberal mantra of everybody's a winner. And obviously, everybody can't win in a student election. You're going to have a winner, and you're going to have, and everybody else who's running for that particular office that doesn't get elected is a loser. But now it doesn't matter who the kids vote for, because the school's going to step in. And in this particular case, out in San Francisco, San Francisco Middle School canceled student elections because too many white students got elected. I kid, that is the headline. San Francisco Middle School cancels student elections because too many white people elected. A student government election at a San Francisco middle school had its results ignored after the principal decided the candidates elected were too white. Now, who's paying attention to race now and melatonin levels in skin? Is it the kids? Well, obviously not, because they were obviously voting for who they wanted to vote for. And they probably didn't care if they were white, black, red, yellow, brown, pink, purple. If you think you can't have a pink or purple child, you haven't been to school lately. Elections were held at Everett Middle School back on October 10th, but on October 14th, Principal Lena Van Haren sent an email to parents saying the results were being ignored without being made public because those elected... She didn't even make the winners public. She just decided. Now, she sent an email to parents saying that the results were being ignored without being made public because those elected did not reflect how diverse the school is. While Everett is more than 80% non-white, Van Haren said the election results weren't representative of that. Who cares? It's who the kids elected. What are we gonna start now running around the country and saying, okay, no, this state you can't. We're gonna ignore your election results in this state because too many white people were elected and more than 50% of your population is non-white, so you got to vote for some non-white people in order for it to be valid. Now, the principal says that is concerning to me because as principal, I want to make sure the voices of all are heard from all backgrounds. But at least one of the middle schoolers who ran is calling Van Haren out for her rhetoric. Yeah, the kid's right. The organizers are saying things like we want everyone's voice to be heard, but in truth, the voters' voices are not being heard. Seventh grader Sebastian Kaplan said, the whole school voted for those people, so it's not like people rigged the game, but in a way, now it's kind of being rigged. Exactly. This kid's got the 911 or the 411 on this. He knows exactly what's going on. The principal just didn't like it. The kids didn't care. They voted for who they wanted to vote for, but now you come this big bad principal, this white female. By the way, she's white. This white female who's now feeling so guilty that all these white students got elected over, and the student body is 80% non-white. I don't even know what non-white is. It really depends on what they're considering to be non-white. Because remember, now down in Florida, George Zimmerman is a white Latino. So I'm really confused as to exactly what is non-white. So you got, are they counting white Latinos? Or I don't know, maybe Greeks and Italians, Southern Italians, because they don't look white, they got a tan. Maybe they're not considered to be white. Maybe they're non-white. And the interesting point is that she didn't make the results known, so nobody knows what the hell she's talking about. Too many white people how many got elected? We don't know because she didn't release the results. I mean, I don't know all the offices that they were, the kids were voting for, but let's say there's 10. Now, was she upset because 3 white people got elected? And remember, so that would mean 7 out of 10 who are elected were non-white. But remember, the school population is 8 out of 10 is non-white. So is that too many? 3? 3 out of the 10? I don't. Well, I don't know. Did a white Latino get elected and is considered to be white? I don't know. This teacher isn't released, and this is why I always ask: why the hell are you people sending your kids to public schools? I've already taken away every freaking excuse that you could possibly have. Your kids have to deal with this on a daily basis. Now, here's a white female principal who is feeling, self-loathing and self-shame, and she's putting it out onto all of her students. Now, the principal went on to say that she is considering a variety of fixes to the problem, including appointing several new positions in order to ensure more minorities are represented without kicking out those who actually won the election. So basically, she wants to null and void and make the election process absolutely meaningless, worthless, and useless. That's what's going to. Oh well, there's too many white people are like. So let's have some other. Well, I'm going to appoint some other people, some other kids. So it's a better representation. But that's not what your kids voted for. Oh, but who cares, right? Because what do kids know? They don't know nothing. They don't know who they want or what they want. But this is the kind of stuff that these kids grow up learning this stuff, and then they get out into the real world, and then instead of standing up for their rights, they realize that those who are in authority, they trump what the people want anyway. And then, of course, the white kids are probably just being taught to be ashamed of being white. Oh, how dare you be elected? That's just, you're in a non-white school, and you're white, and you got elected, which means all these non-white kids had to vote for you, too. I guess that doesn't count.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Did you know that 1 in 4 people in America lives with a mental illness? Do you have the communication skills to help out if one is in a crisis? What if it's your best friend? Maybe your son or daughter? While crisis intervention isn't new, the book Crisis Intervention 101 is. It's easy to read, include links to 2 videos, and it's under $10. Get your copy of Crisis Intervention 101 today on Amazon.com, because we all need help in a crisis.
Start training for a new career in as little as 18 days. National EMS Institute's innovative boot camp program will train you for a new career. Learn to respond to emergency situations and become a certified EMT in just 18 days. National EMS Institute guarantees 100% job placement. Visit www.nationaleMSinstitute.com today to learn more about our 18-day boot camp. Or call us at 1-800-497-6732. NationalEMSinstitute.com.
Stuck in a boring, low-paid job? By 2017, there will be a shortage of 2 million cybersecurity jobs worldwide. If you have a technical background but don't have a computer certification, you are being drastically underpaid. In months, you could be qualified for a new job in information technology, making real money with real job security. A new career is just a few clicks away at thecodeoflearning.com.
For a minute or two, for a minute. You know, that's the new colloquial. Minute is a long time. That's unbelievable colloquialism. You know, kids today they say for a minute. Now you have to understand the whole conversation when they're talking in order to realize for you to realize, do they mean 60 seconds or do they mean 60 years? Seriously, because, you know, minute can be short period of time or a long period of time. Yeah, you know, I've known her for a minute. I've known her for years, but that's how they talk. But we're gonna stick for a minute out in California. This from a CBS Sacramento, California. Again, now some of you are going to think about this for a second and think, well, it's good. Those boys got arrested. No, but the problem isn't what they were doing. Let me just fill you in on this, and then I'll explain. A sex tape investigation on a local high school campus has led to the arrest of 2 teen boys under the age of 18, but is leaving parents shaking their heads. Parents are STH, shaking their heads. That's an embarrassment that can last a lifetime, said mother Erica Barnes. So those are potential consequences 3 Ponderosa high school students faced after investigators arrested 2 teen boys accused of making and distributing a sex tape. In other words, they were making their own porn tape. Investigators say the girl engaged in sex acts with a boy from school. Both are minors. While another underage boy filmed it. Now the boys now, but it doesn't say whether or not the girl agreed to this or not. The boys now, I don't know if she did agree to it. Is she now going to be charged with child pornography too? So far, it's just the boys. Now, the boys now face criminal charges in disseminating child porn, sexually exploiting a child, and conspiracy to commit a crime. They are charges John McGinnis, a retired Sacramento County sheriff, calls appropriate when dealing with minors. I don't know how this is appropriate when dealing with minors who film themselves having underage sex. If all parties involved were cognizant of what's going on, what? Now, maybe they're not offended by it, but the law protects them. In some cases, it protects them from themselves. Now, see, that's the problem. That's the problem. And he says at no point can anyone consent to the dissemination of graphic sexual material involving a minor child. Evidently, not even a minor child. Evidently, not even if it's your own picture on your own phone. Folks, that is very disturbing. The very notion that this county sheriff decides to say that we're protecting you from yourselves. Now, I am not even going to I'm not talking about the porn stuff. I mean, first of all, look, this is not the first time kids have been caught filming themselves having sex with each other. And it isn't going to be the last. Oh, we live in a sex-crazed society right now. Every time you turn around, kids are being bombarded by their own heroes. From teenagers to the young 20-something, the millennials are just constant. I mean, even just listen to their pop songs. It's nothing but sex, sex, sex. I mean, you got 14-year-olds rapping about sex and banging hoes, and you got 16-year-old girls out there talking about, I just want to look good for you, baby, so we can sex it on later. I mean, come on. They're constantly being bombarded with this stuff. And if you're looking at if you go into the malls and look at some of the mall shops that mostly 95% of people under the age of 20 shop in, now I'm talking things like, Abercrombie and Fitch and Old Navy and Hollister and I don't know, Forever 21 and all those places. I mean, you see the models. Half the times the models are half naked. You don't even know what they're selling. They're supposed to be selling clothes, but half the time you don't know what they're selling because the models aren't even wearing the damn clothes. And so when these kids decide that they're going to engage in an adult carnal type of activity, and then they film it like some adults do, they're going to get arrested for child pornography. They're children themselves. And you have these people who are in authority who run around and tell us, well, we're protecting you from yourself. And people say, no, Rod, they don't believe in that. They're not really saying that. Bullshit, because they just said it. You have a county sheriff who's out there saying, well, yeah, in some cases it protects them from themselves. We're protecting you from yourself. In some cases. Hey, the whole notion of wearing a seatbelt, that's a victimless crime. Oh, but no, we're protecting you. You're not protecting Jack. You're ripping off my wallet. And now these kids and evidently, this is the type of stuff, like a lot of things, you could murder someone when you're 14 years old, and you could have that record sealed by the time you're 21 if you stay out of trouble. Well, these kids are going to have to carry around the nomer, the describer of child porn distributor, sex offender, for the rest of their life. Do you realize it's something, you're 16, 17 years old, you're getting it on with your 16, 17-year-old girlfriend, you decide to video it, you have your 17-year-old friend help you videotape it, then all of us, I guess the kids were pretty stupid trying to distribute it to their friends. Hey, look what we did. I don't know, the story doesn't say if they were trying to sell it. There was a movie not too long about something like this. I'm pretty, they probably are trying to do what they did in the movie. If I recall, the movie they were trying to make a porno film in order to help them pay for college. I think that was the plot. Anyway, obviously the movie didn't, it wasn't a big one, but the plot was they were they were high school kids, I think. Yeah, they were high school kids, and they wanted to make a porno in order to make money. And so these kids have probably seen that movie and decide, hey, well, look, the porn industry in this country is huge. They make buku bucks. I mean, it is estimated that half of all the websites on the internet are porno sites of some form or another. Half. Well, obviously, sex sells, and not just here in the United States of America. Now, McGinnis says the penalty will likely come in a form of some jail time. Jail time for kids filming themselves having sex. Have we lost our freaking collective minds? There was a time when something like this happened, and the kids were caught. Their parents would severely punish them. And unless the kid was just rotten to the core, they would never do anything like that again. But today, I guess parents can't punish their kids without being brought up on charges themselves. So kids are free to do whatever the hell they want to do. And then when they go a little bit too far, because there's nobody at home setting limits, because if the parents try to set limits, they're going to be brought up on child endangerment and child abuse charges, so that the kids don't know what they're doing. And so then the authorities get involved and start saying, well, we're here to protect you from yourself. What? Now, don't get me wrong. I do not believe these kids should be making porno movies. And they should not be running around trying to distribute or sell videos of themselves having sex with each other. I mean, frankly, I find that a little disconcerting and more than a little bit disgusting. But at the same token, should these kids be arrested and charged with a child sex crime? No. They didn't force somebody else to do this, evidently. They just they probably got together and you know what? We could make money from our friends if we just filmed ourselves making. And what's going to sell better? What is going? If YouTube allowed pornographic material on YouTube, I guarantee you half of that at least would be pornographic, because people would watch it, and advertise would advertise on it. And the people who did it would be making a mint. I mean, this is now. Are these people going to be disadvantaged by what they've done? I think the answer to that question is an overwhelmingly yes, and that's what the laws are intended to prevent. What? Prevent what? From them having being disadvantaged? No, the law is purposefully disadvantaging those kids for the rest of their life, because now they got to register as sex offenders. This type of look. These people are in position of power and authority because we the people elect them. I don't know how many times I got to reinforce that. If we think that the government is too intrusive into our lives, we only have ourselves to blame for that, because we elect these dummies who think that they're better than us. We elect them and re-elect them and re-elect them, and it seems like the worse the offender, the more often they get re-elected. Well, no, that's not true. Can I remind people of Marion Barry, former mayor of Washington, D.C.? Man was convicted of drug usage. He was a drug abuser. And after he got caught and he was convicted, and after his sentence was over, Marion Barry came back and they elected him to the city council. Look, if you're going to constantly elect and re-elect criminals, thugs, bigots, racists, and people who just want to take away your freedom. And then you're surprised that we have all these multiple laws that are really stupid, damaging, and trap just about everybody. Well, we've only got our own selves to blame. If you're wondering why is it? I mean, in my state, I got to ask the question: why the hell do we have some law that has been enacted that would cause a woman at a stoplight who uses her phone to take a picture at the stoplight of an undercover cop with the cardboard sign, "The end is near," and then get a $150 ticket for? How did that law how did that even become law? Because we, the people of the state of New Hampshire, elected enough of these idiots who decided that should be a law. And they're out there protecting us from ourselves. Now look, I've asked the question. So she used her phone to take the picture of the cop. What if she had a camera? Well, the law does not specifically state that you can't use your camera while driving. You just can't you can't use your phone that way. It has to be a hands-free phone. Because a camera is not an electronic communications device. Like, well, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So I could just pull up next to you, whip out my 35 millimeter camera, take a picture of you, and drive on and no problems. Basically, that's how the law is written. So now you have a 17-year-old takes a picture of himself, a selfie, a nude selfie. It's on his phone. Maybe he wants to show it to his girlfriend. He sends a copy to his girlfriend or what have you. He takes a picture of himself. Then, a couple of months later, turns 18. Somebody gets a hold of his phone, reports him to the cops. The cops come to his door, bust him for being in possession of child pornography. No other pictures of naked people. None. Older, younger or older, just himself. He took the picture himself. And now he's facing a lifetime of being called a child pornographer and sex offender at the age of 18 for taking a picture of himself when he was 17. And you're probably saying, well, how did they know that he was 17, Rod? It's dated. Well, these phones date pictures for you, too. But yeah, the cops are like, okay, let me see. Hey, you're nude here, aren't you? Yeah, when'd you take that? Oh, a couple of months ago. When'd you turn 18? Oh, last week. Oh, child pornography. Busted. Really? Are they really protecting that kid from himself? But why do we have this? Because we elect these jackasses. I'm sorry, it's our fault. You get the government you deserve. And all you people who constantly say, well, my candidate isn't in the primary or isn't in the running, so I'm not going to vote. You're part of the problem. I'm going to tell you. And if you're throwing your vote away because, well, I'm going to vote for this guy that has no chance. He's going to get like all of 10 votes, but I'm going to vote for him. You're also part of the problem. You third candidacy people, you're part of the problem. Plain and simple. You're why we have Obama. You're why we have all of these liberals running around and these rhinos running around thinking that they know better than us and that they're going to create these laws in order to protect ourselves from ourselves. I mean, that's about. How would you like it if you decided to take a naked selfie? You're an adult. You take a naked selfie of yourself. It's on your phone. You're not distributing it to anybody. Maybe you have it on there because you're a guy. You want to go show your girlfriend. Look, honey, I can look pretty good. Don't you think this looks good? And a cop oversees that, and he goes to his cruiser and starts ticking away on the computer to see if you broke a law. And then he finds one that you broke, and he comes back and arrests you for taking a picture of yourself. And then the excuse is, well, hey, we're just protecting you from you. Well, that's what happens. That's what's happening to these kids. And trust me, these are not going to be isolated incidents. This is going to snowball. Because the law that was intended to protect kids from those who really do exploit them in child pornography is now being put into play for a use that it was not intended. It was not intended to indict kids who take pictures of themselves and then ruin their entire adult life because of something they did before they were 18. Hell, this sheriff just said, yeah, this is probably going to put them at a disadvantage the rest of their life. You know, that's what it's designed to do. So we're creating laws now that are designed to punish you for the rest of your life. You might as well just have a life sentence in jail and just get it over with. There's no more, well, you know, he served his time, he's paid his debt to society, now we should let him move on. No. Now we're designing laws and punishments that are going to punish you for the rest of your life. Doesn't matter when the crime took place. You know, you could have been 15 years old when you took a naked selfie. And at 16, you got busted. So from the time you're 16 to the time you're 80, you're going to pay for that picture. Are you telling me that you're protecting me from me? And that's your reasoning. Hey, look, if you don't think that sex is on the minds of students and people aren't pushing it on them, here's something else. A high school teacher near Phoenix, Arizona, was suspended after administrators learned he passed around a survey to about 100 students with questions that asked about their sexual proclivities. Yes, a teacher quizzes his students on porn habits. Public school. Among the questions, the Daily Caller reported, do you watch pornographic videos? Would you go to a wife-swapping party? Now, they're kids. They're not married. Why would you ask them that kind of a question? Now, wait a minute now. Understand, this isn't a public school, and this is probably a liberal teacher. Why would you? Wife-swapping party? Why would you ask a group of high school students, 100, who aren't even married, if they would go to a wife-swapping party? You know, I can just see it now. 16-year-old boys would be sitting back there. Yeah, man, oh yeah, my wife was down with that. Yeah, I'd do that. And another question, do you prefer ordinary sex? Well, what the hell is ordinary sex? You know what? I'm not sure I want to know, because I'm sure the next question is, what is non-ordinary sex? And I wouldn't know. I don't want to know what that is. I am going to be happily ignorant of what non-ordinary sex is. Not going down that road, sorry. Other questions distributed among the Betty Fairfax High School students in Laveen, Arizona, were those that asked if responders had ever felt the urge to kill or if they disliked foreigners. I got some stuff on the foreigners things. We'll get to that in the next hour. And it's not from the U.S. either. So this is going to really frost some liberals. Parents about these questionnaires predictably were unhappy. You think? One parent says, I think it was very, very, very inappropriate for my 15-year-old to get those questions. 15 years old. Now, these kids are being asked at 15 about their sexual proclivities, and a couple of states over, fellow high schoolers are being arrested for actually exercising and filming their sexual proclivities. So they're being asked about them in public high school, and that's fine. And then when they act upon them and then film them, now they're going to be arrested and put into the legal system for the entirety of their natural life. I can see where that's protecting these kids from themselves. Yeah, go ahead and feed their brains, get them all worked up, and then as soon as they act upon those urges that you fed them and put into their heads, then you're going to run in, arrest them, You throw them into the court system where they will then be permanently barred from certain jobs for the rest of their life. And you wonder why parents, predictably parents are unhappy? No. See, you're sending your kids to these public schools in the first place, so you know what's going on in the halls and classrooms of these public schools. So why the hell are you surprised and upset when something like this happens? And it happens all over the country, and we hear about it on a weekly, daily basis. And you're upset when it happens in your school? Oh, honey, no. I'm upset with you because you're still sending your kids to these public schools, these public indoctrination centers that we call public schools. There's no way. I mean, there's even another story. Schools ask 12-year-olds if they've had sex, of all kinds of sex. I mean, what's a 12-year-old going to... Well, a 12-year-old isn't supposed to know about sex, are they? School officials sent a letter to parents advising of the teacher's suspension and calling for the survey inappropriate, highly personal, and highly offensive. Oh, really? And yet we have here on WND.com, school asked 12-year-olds if they've had sex of all kinds. A survey used across America, often without parental okay. And you're probably saying, well, no, that's not happening in my school. This survey is being asked all across America. Now, schools across America don't need Common Core or its invasive testing components to dig deep into a student's personal and family life. Now, public school systems have been awash in a culture of privacy-destroying data mining for years. And now the recent bombshell reported by massresistance.org shows that students as young as 13 or 14 are being given surveys asking their sexual orientation, how often they have sex, whether it's anal, oral, or vaginal sex, how often they carry guns or other weapons, and the list goes on and on and on and on. Or as they say in New York, on. And then we go ahead and arrest the kids for doing things that we asked them and put into their... why the hell are you still sending your kids to public schools? That's my question.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
The following letters were written by our troops.
My dear fellow Americans, I truly appreciate your support. I was starting to wonder if people had forgotten about us over here, but then one of my buddies showed me this website, and now as tears are streaming down my face, I can see for sure that you haven't. Private Emily B., U.S. Army.
It's so heartwarming to see the American people not letting the men and women of the armed forces be forgotten. Your letters make a group of grown men, battle-hardened and gruff, act like a bunch of kids around a Christmas tree. Thanks. Staff Sergeant Matthew H., U.S. Army.
Your support may be the most important thing our troops can carry with them. But don't take our word for it. Take theirs. To show your support, visit americasupportsyou.mil. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Defense and the Ad Council.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
and they're going to say and tell you about their day, because you're going to ask them, how was your day? And they're going to tell you. And you are going to be livid. Now, I'm telling you right now, you shouldn't be mad at all. Because this kind of stuff is going on in your child's school. Now, the big thing is that most parents are in a state of denial. And as long as they don't know, quote unquote, know about what's going on in school, then it's not happening. And this is part of the reason why, these parent-teacher conferences are attended by so few parents. Because parents don't really want to know, because if they do know, they know they're going to get upset and they're going to have to do something about it. And they don't want to do anything about it because parents are being very lazy. Because they don't want to get involved. It's just my kid. I'm just sending my kids to public school to be educated. But you don't know what your kids. Right now, it's Monday. Have you talked to your kids today about what they learned in school? And don't just. Did you have a good day in school today? Yeah, it was okay. Well, what'd you learn today? Stuff. Okay, that's good. And that's about the extent of a parent-child conversation about school. You better get into the nitty-gritty details of this stuff. Because one day your kid's going to come home and is going to start decorating their bedroom in all these wild flower child types of colors and patterns, and he's going to be, wondering why he can't belong to a shoom gang like President Obama did, and he won't. Why can't he be a stoner because stoners are so cool, and all kinds of other stuff. And you're going to start wondering, well, when did this happen? Well, it's happening right under your nose as we speak right now, beginning usually in middle school, and depending on your state and your school district, is early as elementary school, being indoctrinated about alternative sexual lifestyles. Hey, how would you like to have your kindergartner or your first grader come home and talk about, well, hey, we learned today in school, Mommy, that, some families are different from ours. They have two mommies or two daddies, and that's okay because I could grow up and have, I know I'm a little boy, but I can grow up and have a husband one day. And that would be okay because teacher said it was. Now, I get the fact that some parents would be fine if that were to happen. Okay. But do you want it to happen naturally, or do you want your kid to be indoctrinated and brainwashed into believing that's what he is? And then this kind of stuff happens, and parents are all up in arms and upset. And look, you know what? I'm more upset with the parents who are upset than what the schools are doing, because we know what these schools are doing, and yet you still don't want to get involved, and you still send your kids to these public schools anyway. That, to me, frankly, and I'm going to be hard on you. To me, that is child abuse. Welcome back, my fellow Americans and fellow ecclesiastites. It is I, your lovable host, El Rod, coming back to you live, hour number 2 here on the fastest 2 hours of Internet Talk Radio, the Rod Eccles Show, broadcasting and blasting live from the Granite State, where the state motto is live free or die. It is not big government or bust, and hopefully it never shall be that. The number that you can call this evening, I think I got it working. I know I was having troubles last week. It's 603-835-3224. Other than that, we're just going to keep rolling right along. Getting into something else. Something that I warned people about a long time. Well, I warned people about a minute ago about this. And it has to, now, if you are, now, each one of these websites has about 1 million plus customers. So if you are a customer of one of these companies, you better be shaking in your boots right now. And I have look, there's nothing more than I would like to do these DNA tests, for your ancestry, to find out, what percentage is from where and what regions you actually come. Because, a lot of us know that, what ethnicity we are. the Irish, Scottish, French, Italian, Native American, the Spanish or Asian, what have you. We know the macro part, but most of us, especially if you're African American, you don't know any more detail than that. You don't know from what region. Most of us don't know. I mean, there are some of us that know from what town that our grandparents or great-grandparents came from, and those people are lucky. But most of us aren't that lucky. And this also goes doubly true for those people who are closed and even open adoption, but mostly closed adoption. They have no sense of who they are or where they came from. So this DNA sort of testing that popped up on Ancestry and 23andme.com was a boon to a lot of people. There was even a PBS show, for I forget who, but African Americans. He'd take their DNA test and he'd show them where they came from and that kind of stuff. And a lot of the actors, famous people, actors and musicians, a lot of them were actually absolutely surprised and shocked about where the DNA results led them. Now, some of them knew the basics, Louisiana, this place or that place, and they'd go back, we had all this kind of stuff. But then they'd be shocked to find out that there was, I don't know why they'd be shocked, because, they didn't look like African blacks, that they had this huge white part of their family going back generations. And they found out where in Europe or other places that they come from. And a lot of people jumped on this because they thought it is a cool idea. It is really cool. It gives you a sense of history that in our era, which has been going on for about 300 or 400 years now, we have lost that sense, because before you knew where you came from because, your parents are born in the same town that you were, and your great-grandparents were, and your great-great-great-grandparents were. Your entire family line goes back, generation after generation after generation in the same town or region. You knew. But as people started to migrate and move around the past 300 or 400 years, that started to get jumbled, because now people are starting to intermarry. Italians were marrying Irish people. Oh, my God, how could that possibly happen? And people started to lose that kind of detail about their history, especially when they immigrated to the United States. Because the United States, in the early immigration days, was pretty rough on immigrants. They didn't allow immigrants a lot of times to bring in a lot of documentation about who they were and where they came from. And if you had a difficult name that the person, that the administrator at Ellis Island or on the West Coast could not pronounce, they usually struck it out and called you Smith or something like that. And that's going to be your name now. You're an American, you're a legal immigrant here, couldn't be a citizen. Smith is your last name for now. Not Krozabaka Nikamakumo. It's got to be Smith. And people accepted it because they wanted to be American. So a lot of that type of history, especially in this country, was lost. Now, I'm not saying that's bad. It's just what it was and how it came about. It was a natural progression of what was happening on the planet. It was naturally lost. And today you have a lot of people who want to try to reconnect with that sense. And we see a lot of TV programs. I mean, what was it? Brian Bortano had a program on a year or two. See, I watch a lot of renovation types and flipping programs. And Brian Bortano had one where he went back to his ancestral Italian town, where he still has relatives living in that town, and he purchased the house that I guess his grandparents owned and came from when they immigrated to the U.S. They lived in that house, and so he went back and got that house, and he renovated it, and he invites, every time he's back in that Italian village, he invites family over, some newfound friends over, and they have all these wonderful parties, whatever. He revamped and remodeled that house, and it looks absolutely marvelous. It looks great. Well, of course, he's got good taste. Brian Bortano is gay, but that's neither here nor there. He reconnected with his family roots. And he knows who his long-lost, quote-unquote, relatives are in that town. And they tell him all kinds of stories about his grandparents, his great-grandparents, and that's good stuff. But we see a lot of programs like that, and people watch those programs and think, I'd like to get a taste of what that's like. So about 5 or 6 years ago, Ancestry.com and 23andMe.com it took some developments from the DNA area and decided that they were going to offer it to customers. So people could send in a swab, a saliva swab, to get their DNA tested and mapped. And people are starting to get back these wonderful histories and locations of where they came from. And they were able to pinpoint not only by region, but where in the region they came from. And most likely the town or villages that were in this region that they came from. People were flocking to this. So now more than 2 million Americans have flooded Ancestry.com and 23andMe.com. But I said back then, yes, as much as I would like to do that, because I think the test is only like, what is it, like $50 or $60? It's affordable for just about everybody. Just about anybody can afford to write a check or pay a credit card for, $50 or $60 and have this done. But I said that there was a problem with this way back then. And that I would not do it, even though it is killing me. Because there's so much. I am such a mutt, a human mutt. It's ridiculous. I would love to be able to figure all this stuff out. Because trying to trace my family history through documentation and birth records and all that kind of stuff is a dead end after dead end after dead end after dead end. But I would be able to love to figure out more of where I came from, how I came to be. But I refuse to do Ancestry.com or 23andMe.com and use their DNA services. Why? Because of this. This is a story from Fusion.net. When companies like Ancestry.com and 23andMe first invited people to send in their DNA for genealogy tracing and medical diagnostic testing, privacy advocates, including me, warned about the creation of a giant genetic database that might one day be used against participants by law enforcement. DNA, after all, can be a key in solving crimes. It has serious information about you and your family. Now, this privacy advocate, Jeremy Gruber, was saying this back in 2010. So was I. Now, 5 years later, 23andMe and Ancestry both have over 1 million customers each. Those warnings are looking prescient. Your relative's DNA could turn you into a suspect, warns Wired magazine, writing about a case from earlier this year in which New Orleans filmmaker Michael Usry, is it Usry? U-S-R-Y, became a suspect in an unsolved murder case after cops did a familial genetic search using semen collected in 1996. The cops searched an Ancestry.com database and got a familial match to a saliva sample Usry's father had given years earlier. I remember this. Now, Usry was ultimately determined to be innocent, but his reputation was ruined. And the Electronic Frontier Foundation called it a wild goose chase that demonstrated the very real threats to privacy and civil liberties posed by law enforcement access to private genetic databases. Now, the FBI does maintain a national genetic database with samples from convicts and arrestees, but this was the most public example of cops turning to a private genetic database to find a suspect. And cops are starting to demand that they turn over this information. And look, every time that you get arrested now, you do realize that you just get arrested. You might not even have any charges filed against you, but you get arrested. Your fingerprints and picture are now permanently stored in the FBI database. Did you know that? And in certain cases where you're arrested, even if no charges come or you don't even go to court, in certain arrestable cases, your DNA is going to be taken. It's going to be sampled. Again, that's going to remain on file with the FBI. And you may not even ever be charged with anything. But they're going to hold on to it. And now Ancestry and 23andMe, this is my huge problem with these private companies, because they're storing this information instead of destroying it like they probably should. And now law enforcement is starting to demand that they turn over these types of records. You're screwed if you used any of these services. And when I told people that they should not do this, they looked at me like I had two heads. Oh, Rod, you're being silly. You're being overprotective. You're being, conspiracy theorist and all that kind of stuff. You're turning into a nut job. Well, guess what? It took a few years, but again, I was right. Now, both Ancestry and 23andMe stipulate in their privacy policies that they will turn information over to law enforcement if served with a court order. 23andMe says it's received a couple of requests from both state law enforcement and the FBI. So there you go. And these companies are not going to fight it. They're going to willingly turn over your data. To a law enforcement agency if it is requested. Because they don't want to spend their money fighting this stuff. Not at all. And frankly, can you blame them? I mean, you're giving them this information freely. Now, what are they going to do? Look, folks, I know a lot of this stuff is so cool. It's so neat and interesting, and I know it's so new, and people just want to know. They want to know. No, we have this because humans we're naturally curious. We just want to know. We want to know stuff. Everybody wants to. Well, most people with a brain that's still active. I'm not talking about the people in a coma. Want to know stuff. Want to know stuff about themselves, about their neighborhood, about their friends, about their family. They just want to know stuff. It doesn't even necessarily have to be important stuff. They just want to know stuff. They want to know fun stuff, stupid stuff, some serious stuff. But they just want to know. They want answers. People want to know: are there really aliens? Do they want to know how what's on Mars? People want to know what's at the bottom of the ocean. People want to know where they come from. They just want to know stuff. The natural human instinct to be curious, and that's perfectly fine and okay. What's not okay is what happens to the data that is collected on us when we are seeking to know stuff. Because eventually it is going to be used against us. And that's not okay. Speaking of knowing stuff, is there anybody else out there who's what's his name? Who's sick of this? You know what? If you are, I'm going to say this frankly. I feel sorry for Kanye West. I really do. I personally think that the man's life is in danger. Physically, emotionally, or reputationally, his life is in danger. Because it seems like every person, every man that's gotten involved with those Kardashian women, they have ended up screwed up. I mean, what do you got? Lamar Odom did, overdoses in a brothel of all places, and you got Bruce has decided, well, I'm a woman now. I mean, what must you go through? Being a part of that family, if you want to, a couple of decades later, you are convinced that you're a woman. And don't give me this BS that he said, I always felt this way. No, he did not. Not buying it. But what is this notion that we're going to pay so much attention to what's going on in this with this guy? I mean, it's like we had a daily. I couldn't avoid it. It was daily update on his condition. Oh, he's still in a coma. Oh, he opened his eyes. He's out of a coma now. Oh, yeah. One of the first things he asked for is to see his kids. Why would you even take your kids to see that mess? I mean, we've got all kinds of real men out there who are doing real things and getting, especially military people, and we don't hear a damn thing about their recovery. But oh my, you get a Kardashian, a man who was dating or married to a Kardashian, and yeah, look, what was Chris's, the other guy who was married to Kim Ye first, and Humphreys, the basketball player. That guy got so messed up being married. They weren't even married for a year, right? He should have known he was doomed because, he was white. Well, it seems like the Kardashian women, there's two groups of them. There's the Kardashian girls and then there's the Jenner girls. I don't know. Do the Jenner girls seem to go for black guys? Because it looks like the Kardashian women really like to go for the black guys. I don't know. But in any event, all I can say is if you are a guy and you get involved with the Kardashian clan, you're going to have to be careful, because it just seems like an awful lot of these guys that get involved with those girls, those women, they end up somehow messed up and or destroyed. Physically, mentally, reputationally, in a number of different ways. And this is, I'm not a huge Kanye West fan, but I got to tell you, this guy may have he may have gotten into something that he finds that he can't get himself out of very easily. So and again, hey, if you're a high school student in a public school and you run around acting like a Kardashian and then you put it on video or you take selfies of it, you're probably going to find yourself ending up getting arrested for breaking some damn law that's really supposed to be applied to adults, but is applied to you as a teenager, and it's going to ruin the rest of your life. That's the Kardashian effect.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Did you know that 1 in 4 people in America lives with a mental illness? Do you have the communication skills to help out if one is in a crisis? What if it's your best friend? Maybe your son or daughter? While crisis intervention isn't new, the book Crisis Intervention 101 is. It's easy to read, include links to 2 videos, and it's under $10. Get your copy of Crisis Intervention 101 today on Amazon.com, because we all need help in a crisis.
Start training for a new career in as little as 18 days. National EMS Institute's innovative boot camp program will train you for a new career. Learn to respond to emergency situations and become a certified EMT in just 18 days. National EMS Institute guarantees 100% job placement. Visit www.nationaleMSinstitute.com today to learn more about our 18-day boot camp. Or call us at 1-800-497-6732. NationalEMSInstitute.com.
Stuck in a boring, low-paid job? By 2017, there will be a shortage of 2 million cybersecurity jobs worldwide. If you have a technical background but don't have a computer certification, you're being drastically underpaid. In months, you could be qualified for a new job in information technology, making real money with real job security. A new career is just a few clicks away at thecodeoflearning.com.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show.
Welcome back. You know, there's a lot going on in our country, and you know, really, a country is a country, and I don't really care how small it is. You're still going to have a lot going on. But when you have 320 plus million people, there's going to be a lot going on. And in this particular case, you're also going to have a lot going on that is recycled. Now, not recycled in the sense that, you know, it's the same old stuff being dragged up from, you know, a minute ago, but stuff that is coming back because there's something new that's added to the story. In this particular case, Walmart. Now, everybody knows there, unless you've been living under a rock or living out in Rush Limbaugh's Rio Linda. Yeah, everybody know. Wait, geez, I almost sound like I'm from the West Coast. Rio Linda. Yeah, you know, that's another thing. I'm going to digress for a second. The millennials, you always know when you're talking to a certain type of millennial. Because if you've ever listened to Mark Zuckerberg speak, his speech pattern and cadence and accentuating, not necessarily an accent, but his accentuating, drives me insane. It's like they never grow up. They've got this same childish speech pattern. And I hear, you know, there's this new DJ. Do they still call them DJs? Radio personality. And he's in his early 20s from the information that I have been given. His name is Zach. I think it's Zach Sang. S-A-N-G Sang. And you would think that he might be, you know, Asian descent unless he's adopted. No, he's a white kid. But his name is Zach Sang, I do believe, and he has and it airs here in New Hampshire. It's syndicated, and it's called Zach Sang and the Gang. Now, the first time I heard it, I'm thinking, oh, Zach Sang. Who's Zach Sang? And you know, it's kind of like a Ryan Seacrest-esque type of thing. It's not a countdown, but it's like the Ryan Seacrest show where they kind of it's like morning shows, but it's on at night. And it's geared towards a certain it's geared towards the millennial generation and younger. And the thing that I can't listen to that program, even though they play some of the songs, some songs I like. Most of it's like, the Bieber and Nicki Minaj crap that's on fills the airwaves. But some of the stuff that is all right. It's mainstream pop music stuff. I know they try to call it R&B and hip hop, and that's not it. That's just mainstream pop. That in and of itself is a problem because a lot of today's artists, in my personal humble opinion, is that a lot of them don't have any talent, and that there are far more talented folks out there, both musically and vocally talented than what we have being foisted upon us as stars, which is a whole nother thread because that's why internet music is so popular, because people can actually find these highly talented people that don't get record deals, but they sell a mint. There's a guy that's I think he's out of Vermont, named Jay Rice, Jay, Jay Rice, another white guy, but he's got a very soulful voice, and he does a lot of R&B. And I first found out about Jay Rice, I don't know, it was about 8 or 9 years ago, maybe longer now. But I was at Keene, that year I was at the Keene Pumpkin Festival, and there were people out there, obviously he put them out there, and they were handing out one of his older CDs. And I listened to it, and I thought, this guy's not too bad. He's better than some of the people that have record deals out there making it. But then I found out that at least back then, Jay Rice was making almost $1 million a year online. So, he wasn't some little itty-bitty no-name talent thing. It's just, you find yourself your niche market, and you get fans, and you build your fan base, and they'll buy your stuff. And this guy was doing all right. So you don't need that record labels. But this Zach Sang guy, and he's making it big. And I'm not going to chastise him for that. But his speech pattern, you just listen to him, and he was a millennial. And I can't listen to that type of speech pattern from an adult. Like, grow up already. You expect your 12-year-old or your 14-year-old, that sound like that, but not a 20-something-year-old man. Sorry, and it has nothing to do with his. He's got kind of a gravelly voice, but unfortunately, it's not the good kind of gravelly. It's kind of gravelly, and he's got a high voice. It's not a deep, manly voice with not at all. It's higher. He sounds like he's 12. He's got the speech pattern and cadence of a 12-year-old. I mean, I just can't listen to him. But that's also Mark Zuckerberg, although Zuckerberg's voice is deeper than Zach's, but it's still the same. It drives me insane looking at this kid talk and listening to him talk. Is just like, why don't you just put a Facebook post on it? I'll read it instead. That's better. I can't listen to you. But in any case, look, you want to talk about the Peter Pan effect. This is what we got. This is the Peter Pan syndrome. Everybody sort of blamed Michael Jackson for being a weirdo and he was ahead of his time. If Michael Jackson came on the scene today, he'd be viewed as being normal. I guarantee you he would. Well, I don't know. As long as he didn't take any selfies, he'd be viewed as normal. Walmart woes. Everybody knows about Walmart's, reports of profit being down. And of course, a lot of people should be out there cheering, yay, Walmart's profits are down. But, they're finding out something. That's not a good idea to have Walmart's profits down. Why? Because now Walmart is... they're reviving this minimum wage debate. Now, if you recall, Walmart caused a stir when it raised their pay for about 500,000 of its workers. But now the U.S. retail giant seems to regret the move after its profit outlook plunge, reviving a minimum wage debate. Now, I don't know why Walmart thought, and I'm sure that they didn't think this way, I don't know why Walmart would put out there in public that they thought that they could pay 500,000 more people and it wasn't going to affect their bottom line. Because that's what a lot of people thought. Oh, yeah, well, see, Walmart can afford to pay higher wages, and it's not going to affect their bottom line at all. Just what? Because Walmart did it. So the nation's biggest employer blames its recently released lower forecast on a plan it unveiled back in February to hike the minimum hourly compensation up to $10 from $7.25 at the federal level. Now, Walmart's mood followed mounting criticism by labor unions and others that its low wages have locked workers into poverty and even pressured some of them to seek public assistance to make ends meet. Now, even though Walmart raised its minimum wage, and certain municipalities across the country raised their minimum wage, what we later found out after all of this minimum wage raising is that a lot of employees were asking to have their hours cut back because they weren't going to be able to get that same public assistance because they were making too much. But that's another story. Now, this decision, however, had a snowball effect, spreading mostly notably to fast food chain McDonald's at a time when several U.S. states, including New York and major U.S. cities, Los Angeles and Seattle and San Francisco, took similar action, effectively bypassing the so-called hostile Republicans in Congress. By the way, this is a U.S. news story. That's why you see hostile Republicans in the story. But now Walmart's woes could put the brakes on this trend. Really? Wait. I remember them saying, well, if Walmart did this, the world's biggest employer, man, everybody would be falling in line because they would prove that it could be done, man. Whoop. Put the brakes on. Now Walmart could put the brakes on this trend. They have already prompted reaction from the large camp of those opposed to increasing the minimum wage. It's something that hasn't been done since 2009. So Walmart was, the good guy, if you will, for attempting to raise the minimum wage because, all those who were for this $10 or $15 minimum, there were some who were actually advocating an $18 an hour minimum wage. I'm not talking Bernie Sanders. Bernie's out there. By the way, Bernie and Hillary are out there advocating a $15 minimum wage, and they pay some of their campaign people $12 and $10 an hour. There's a meme going around out there about, liberals are hypocrites. And I'm just saying, pointing it out. You got these two Democratic candidates on the top of the Democratic heap, demanding that $15 an hour be the minimum wage nationwide. And yet they're not paying a lot of their workers that minimum standard that they're so loud about. If you think you're going to get something different besides hypocrisy from liberals, and that goes for rhinos in the Republican Party too. If you think you're going to get something different other than hypocrisy, then you are, or you belong in Rush Limbaugh's Ria Linda. And I am for keeping the United States together as a union. But I will compromise on this. If we put all the liberals over in the state of California and then cut California loose and let them show, hey, you think that you can make a liberal utopia? You got the entire state of California. Have at it and prove it to the rest of us. I guarantee that within a decade, the state will be completely bankrupt. The cities will be in complete disarray, disrepair, lawlessness, rioting everywhere. It'll just be a mess. Guaranteed, within a decade. Guaranteed. Just let them have it. Go for it. California. I'm sorry, Californians out there that are listening to this. You happen to be a conservative on the conservative leaning. I'm going to say you guys have to leave. Yeah, come on, because a lot of liberals are going to go. We're going to push a lot of liberals over there. So there's going to be a lot of openings, housing, jobs, good paying jobs over here towards the east as we throw the liberals over there on the west. So there will be plenty of room for you over here. So you won't be displaced really. You'll have a place to come to. But yeah, I get it all figured with all the people that say that they're liberal and they're all following Bernie Sanders or supporting Hillary Clinton even after all of Hillary Clinton's garbage. Just send them all to California. See, there you go. Have it. Make California the model country for the entire planet. And I guarantee you, within 10 years, once they get there, we got to close the border. We got to, make a border, close it, put a wall off California so they can't bleed over into the rest of the country. I happen to like, the Napa Valley and the orange groves and everything down the Central Valley, but I'm willing to let it go. I'm willing to just so they can have their experiment over there. I'm willing to sacrifice my California wines and my pistachio nuts and good California oranges for that. See, I'm willing to sacrifice. How about you? Look, California wines. I've turned into a wino. California's got some great wines. So, but you know what I found out? There are other places in the country that have some really good. Here in New Hampshire can produce some really good wines, and New York State, believe it or not, has a couple of vineyards that produce some really world-class wines. And if you go to Trader Joe's, you can get French and Italian wines for cheap. You don't got to spend $40, $50 a bottle. You can get it for $10, $15 a bottle. Good stuff. So I can replace the California stuff I like really easy. I'm not worried about that. So I guess evidently that's not a sacrifice after all. But, the pistachio nuts, kind of, the California's got the big... And I happen to like other things that California's big at growing, too. But I can sacrifice that. Just go ahead and let make the state into their, have minimum wage $20 an hour. See how they happen. They might like not having McDonald's and Burger King and Chipotle and all that kind of stuff out there because it'd be too expensive to... people buy that food, so that'll make them healthier, right? So let them have at it. Let them have at it. Here, this is from myway.com. And they're writing the story as if it's a shock to everybody. And, in some degree, it is going to be a shock for some people, even though they should have known about this because it was already talked about and touted and told about for years now. But now the future, because back in 2009, 2010, 2011, it was the future. That was going to happen way in the future. You don't have to worry about it. It's in the future. Well, the future is now here, and the math is harsh. It's going to be very harsh for some people. The federal penalty for having no health insurance is set to jump to $695, and the Obama administration is being urged to highlight that cold, hard fact to help drive its new pitch for health law signups. That means that the 2016 signup season starting November 1st could see penalties become a bigger focus of motivation to millions of people who have remained eligible for coverage but uninsured. They're said to be more skeptical about the value of health insurance, but now, as we've been telling you that it was going to get more and more and more expensive. But at $695 compared to what you're going to be paying for health insurance over a year, that's still a bargain. But most people aren't going to have $695 sitting around to pay the penalty. And they're going to be a little bit, miffed and surprised when that $2,000, refund check from their federal income taxes gets cut by a third. They're going to be saying, well, where'd my money go? Man, I was going to buy a new big screen TV with this thing, with a new car. Where did they take my money? Why did they take my money? And everybody's going to cry about it. I'm saying you can't be shocked by this. You were told about this way back, before Obama was reelected for a second term. You were told about this, and yet and still, you reelected the jackass. Now the bill is coming due. Until now, health overhaul supporters have stressed the benefits of getting covered. Taxpayer subsidies that pay roughly 70% of the monthly premium, financial protections against sudden illness or accident, and access to regular preventive and follow-up medical care. That has got to be the biggest bunch of bogus BS about this. You gotta spread the responsibility. No, it is not my responsibility to pay for somebody else's health care. Now, for those of you, and this goes out to John Kasich of Ohio, governor of Ohio. For those of you who think that it's a Christian thing to do, might I remind you that is BS too. Because Jesus Christ did not call on the government to take care of your neighbor. He called on you to take care of your neighbor. And this idea that, this is a very Christian thing to do. The government's going to, be able to take care of it. No, that is not the government's job. That is not what Christ said. It is very unchristian to take money from somebody else. I understand that Christ said, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's and give unto God what is God's, and that the money that is printed belongs to Caesar, belongs to the government. Great. But this whole notion that you're supposed to, via your government, take care of the poor, that is not what Christ said. And I need to put that to rest right now, because anybody who gives you that line of BS is not a real Christian. Or they do not understand Christianity, and they do not understand the words of Christ. Christ said you are to take care of your neighbor, you individually, not your government. It is not your government's responsibility to do that. So this whole notion that we have this, all of a sudden we're taking care of the poor who can't take care of themselves because we have Obamacare, is not Christ-like. It's very devilish, as a matter of fact. Because you've got this whole notion, we're just going to take from those who have and give it to those who have not, bypassing the individual, and we're going to determine who's the have-not and who is the have. That is not the government's job. We're supposed to do that on an individual basis. And if you think that you are giving your responsibility to follow the word of Christ to the government, you've got another thing coming. Because Jesus made it perfectly clear. Read your Bible. He made it clear that it was your responsibility, not Caesar, not the government. So, Mr. Kasich of Ohio, you're a damn fool and you're damn wrong, and no, I will not support you for the nomination of the Republican Party. There's another guy who's I've written off my list. I've already got Jeb Bush, Rand Paul, now John Kasich. Gone. Oh, yeah, and Chris Christie. Gone. And if they get the nomination, yes, I'm going to reluctantly support them, but they're not my first choice. So this whole notion I can just whittle down by listening to these people talk. This is why I say I just want to listen to what they have to say. All I got to do is wait for these people to talk, and they will trip themselves up and reveal who they really are. And then I can decide, I'm not going to support them. While you people who jump on these bandwagons early and go gung-ho to support these guys, and then all of a sudden you learn a little bit later down the line, he's not really my guy. Well, you look like a damn fool. That's why you get pissed off at me when I tell you the truth and you go walking out of a meeting or an event that I'm giving a speech, because I tell the truth like it is, and I don't care who's listening. Plain and simple. Look, this penalty is only going to go up from here. So now it is going to get to a point where the penalty is going to be as expensive, if not more expensive, than if you were to get the expensive health care. And people are already realizing they can't afford this. Do you realize that health insurance is now at the point where it is rivaling the top three of your living expenses? Now, the most expensive on an annual basis is usually housing. And then the second is usually feeding yourself and your family. And the third is usually transportation. But now that might be rivaled by health care, health insurance. That might displace them. And people are going to have to give up their cars. At least, hey, you want to talk about, how I rail against people who can't afford to send their kid to a private school, but they got new BMWs parked in the driveway. Well, pretty soon you're going to have to get rid of those BMWs just to afford your monthly health insurance premium, because you're not going to have a choice. Either you pay it now or you pay the government later. Which do you want? This is why we have to get rid of Obamacare. We have to defund it now and then get a Republican president and a conservative Congress and get rid of it. Just repeal, rip up, and don't replace. Leave it alone. Government does not belong in the health insurance business. Hell, they do such a bang-up job with the VA, right? Why don't we just expand the VA to everyone? Oh, wait. Because the VA sucks. Nobody wants that. And nobody wants Medicare and Medicaid either, because that sucks. Yeah, we want to put everybody on it, huh? Well, look, don't say... Look, I've been warning you about this stuff for years. Don't say I didn't warn you, folks. You already know about all this stuff, because I told you. And let's face it, I'm right. And right now, I have to get out of here because I'm out of time. I'm Rod Eccles. It's been the Rod Eccles Show. And yeah, unfortunately, I'm out.
The leader in talk radio on the internet, right here on K98Talk.com.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.